Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Charger 360, telling the stories of the University of New Haven. I'm J.W. Stewart, along with Bruce Barber. Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing well because we have a student in the studio
Yes.
today. The students are the machine, what makes us work here at the University.
They are the lifeblood here.
The lifeblood.
Absolutely.
I think that's a better use
yeah.
of the...
I tell you what, Bruce, we did not have to look far and wide to find this next guest.
No, we really didn't.
Our guest today is Jason Kull, who is a senior majoring in communication with a minor in music. Normally, Jason is on the other side of the glass behind the cameras. He's our director for Charger 360. So, Jason, if you're here, who the heck's directing the show?
Well, we got Marlo over there today.
All right,
It's kind of a thing I've been working on in a lot of my spots, as we'll talk about in this, all the things I do here at the university, and part of my my education, part of my degree. There's very many ways telling new people how to do the things that I'm doing, sharing my tricks of the trade, as it were, and learn a lot of things that aren't in the textbooks or the instruction manuals that I've just kind of learned over time. So, training new people to keep the Charger 360 going after I graduate at the end of this semester. And
Isn't it nice, too? We've taken him from that dark production environment we have into the light.
Yeah.
the beautiful studio.
You're under the bright lights where the talent sits.
Yeah, what's it like for you to be out here?
It's definitely different. I know a lot of the anchors that I work with, both for productions like Charter Bulletin, talk about how bright and hot the lights can be, and it's different out here. It's different to see it from this side of the lens. Obviously, I look at you guys through the cameras over there, and it's a different perspective, different point of view.
He looks at us and goes, ah!
Everyone thinks this job is glamorous, Bruce. It's really not that glamorous being in front of a camera.
No, it really isn't.
No, it's hard work.
It's hard. It's so difficult.
What's it like working with this guy?
Oh, it's fantastic. I enjoy my meetings with Bruce every week that we have them, because oftentimes our weekly meeting for my job at the radio station is scheduled during this time period on Friday. So
we never meet.
I know.
We just do this.
I see Bruce and he's like, "You doing good?" I'm like, "Doing good." He's like, "Oh, excellent." Then we're
He's
good.
also taking an independent study with me this semester. So Jason, this right now is the independent study. How's
Yes, it
everything
is.
going this week?
It's going very well. Working on my independent study in podcasting, which is very exciting.
Yes.
A relatively new medium in ways you can use it, and both in the video capacity or the audio capacity. I know I've kind of started my podcast as all right, sit down in someone's dorm room in front of the soundboard and microphones and work from there. But now I'm doing things where I'm bringing my little mics and giving people in the marching band or our color guard and getting kind of those genuine things as they're out there on the field rehearsing and doing different things and talking to students on campus. I know one thing I wanted to tap into before I graduate, I'm really hoping to, is to bring my equipment out to one of our food trucks when everyone's waiting for the pizza to come out and be like, "Hey, while I wait for 5 minutes before your pizza comes out, be a guest on the podcast, or get a sticker." College students are very sticker motivated, you'll find.
Really?
Yes, because it's interesting because both they get a little sticker, they get a little trinket for being on the show or whatever you want to have, and also they'll probably stick it on something so it functions as advertisement.
Wow.
And gets your logo out there, be like, "Oh, what's that sticker for?" "Oh, it's for this show or this podcast."
He's making me look good.
I guess
Let's take a
so.
look.
Yes.
Does he have to ace this interview to get an A on the independent study, Bruce?
He's, I think he's got an A locked.
He's got an A.
Yeah, before he walked in the door. I'm not the toughest of graders, J-Dub. A little inside tip there.
So how many people do you have doing an independent study?
I do anywhere from 2 students a semester up to 6 students
Well,
a semester.
that plug Easy Grader, you're going to have about 600 reach out to you now.
For his
number.
3 E's.
Yes, that's right. So we thank you, Jason. Perfect setup. So Jason's a great representation of how I like to run the radio station, which is the 3 E's. It's a great extracurricular activity, so we really build this sense of family, of community. It's a place where students get to know each other and become friends. They meet every Sunday. It's a great experiential opportunity, which Jason has availed himself of because he's made videos for the radio station. So if you go to WNHU.org, the video that you see there was produced 100% by Jason. And then it's the educational piece that Jason is also doing. That's taking an independent study where he basically got to determine what he wanted to do. And he decided to make a podcast at the end of his senior year. And he's doing an A+ job at that so far.
What's the name of the podcast?
The podcast that I run is called A Couple of Friends with No Class. I've actually been running it since I was a freshman, kind of with different groups as they graduated, or kind of as people as they kind of came and went. And I kind of started as kind of a nervous, hi, you want to be on my podcast? Like people like, I've heard the podcast, come talk to me. And I'm like, oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, that is.
And that makes it really fun when people, particularly with the marching band, will go on and be like, oh, I heard someone like from my section be on I want to be on this. I'm like, oh, great. Then I'll come talk to you. And I had a little bit of a list running at one point. I'm like, oh, I got to go talk to these people to get them on the show. And it kind of began as like, oh, hey, let's just do something with, I had like the equipment and the know-how coming into college. And I'm like, I think it'd be kind of fun to do this. And now it's kind of become something where after I graduate, I'll click it back to, season 1 and listen from there. And I kind of have a journal of like my college existence, which is really cool. And a lot of my friends and everyone who kind of met through college has been on it or been on it in some way, and it's kind of fun to listen back and have that experience.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. So you're involved in a lot here on campus and have been, right? You're a senior now. Mm-hmm. You mentioned the marching band is something you're involved in. Tell us about your journey to the marching band, what you were doing before and what you're doing for them now.
Sure. So I started in music as well. When I was in elementary school, I played the clarinet about in 4th or 5th grade for the concert band there. And it was a very nice program. I met a lot of fun people through that. I made a relationship with music that I wanted to come to college and continue doing marching band here. And I started as a clarinet my freshman year in 2021. So of course that was all the, distancing out a little bit. It was kind of coming off of it a little bit, but still we had a lot of those things in there where the band was very motivated by, they hadn't had a full show that previous year and they were really wanting to get something on the field. So I did clarinet when I was a freshman. Then I moved on to the baritone when I was a sophomore. I did that for the first, for my next season, then about the second half of when I was a junior, then moved over to doing sound for our fun ensemble. Because what kind of marching band has like electric guitar? That's a big statement I think is really cool to have. We have usually about 3 or 4 people on guitars or basses, which is really fun to have and provide interesting sound out there. And it's a real fun challenge to get that all on and off the field as quickly as possible and make sure it all functions properly both at home and on the road, going places in Connecticut. Went to Massachusetts when I was a junior up to Lawrence, and then we went to go to Allentown, Pennsylvania every single year, which is our big show there. So yeah.
When did you realize you also had the interest in video production and the technical side of things?
Also kind of when I was in elementary middle school, I will start that I have the experience of making little Lego stop motions on my dad's phone very early on, which I kind of saved, which is really fun to go look at those things. But coming into college, one big piece that I wanted to mention in this is that my selection at the University of New Haven was that I was able to get access to the equipment as soon as possible. It wasn't something where other universities were like, oh, we're not going to have you touch equipment until you're a junior. And I'm like, oh, I don't think I can do that. But I love it that here, once you learn the equipment that you have, this is part of my script when I'm a Charger ambassador for open houses, but once you learn the equipment, then you're able to book it out from our media hub and even things like the studio here. I've done projects in here with other students or by myself, just using the space and being able to make the most of what the university offers us, which I think is really great.
And what we're sitting in here is really a state-of-the-art television production studio, right? And so one of the things you're referring to, it's great, when we made the video for WNHU, it was just the 2 of us in here over on the green screen that's right over there, and Jason was running it all. And I heard someone who's an alum who's working at one of the local television stations saying this is a comparable facility. So it's got to be so valuable for you to be able to take what you've learned here using these facilities starting as a freshman into the working world.
Exactly. I know that you said the studio is obviously a great resource to use. I know I was down here one time and a new studio had come down here to film a package. They need to make something for their evening news. And they couldn't use their own studio space, so we had to find one of ours. And so they were down here and they were commenting. I was like, oh, this is a really nice space. This is better than ours up at maybe in Channel 3 or something. And they're like, I'm like, oh yeah, yes, I have as a student. It's really nice. I like to use it. Like, yes, this is really good. I'm like, thank you. You put the rug in the chairs. I don't think we've used that very often, but I want to use more of the rug in the chairs because it provides more of the flexibility of our studio. And it was really kind of fun to be like the student who's here, but also being talking with these professionals who are like, wow, this is like, I'm like, thank you. I like the space that we have, and it's a great resource to have for students.
So the TV studio in this building, the Bergami Center for Science and Technology, opened in 2020. You got here, you said fall of 2021.
Correct.
So when you were looking at colleges, did you come in here? Was this part of your tour, and did this help win you over?
So I remember coming here as I went to Accepted Students Days. They didn't have any of the activities that we have for now, our current Accepted Students Days. But I came here, got some of my Kull University merch. My first memory of the communications department and the station was actually being brought in here on a Zoom meeting. It was a Zoom meeting with the communications department faculty. I think you may have been there.
I was part of that.
I know Paul Falcone.
Yep.
I remember Paul had his laptop, and he walked from what may have been his office across to here and was like, "Look at the studio. This is our studio space." And I'm like, "Oh, it looks really good." And there's a bunch of other faculty, fantastic communications department faculty, who were also on there, and it was great to get that information from them. And you kind of have that thing where they're like, "Oh yeah, like there's just think that, oh, that's a great studio space through the MacBook or whatever, the laptop computer," which was really fun.
Yeah, and it's terrific. So Paul has a background in film production, and as does Tom Garrett, our department chair. And some of the equipment is absolutely, the film, for students studying film is incredible. What is that? Describe that red camera we have?
Yes.
It's not an actually red camera. It's called red, and it's the camera they used when they filmed Game of Thrones.
Yes,
correct?
some of the really big ones, which is great. We have one of those as opposed to other cameras we have. We have a couple of them for students to book out. That one's one, and so it's very special when, as part of our film production 1 and 2 courses, you get to use that camera to do our short films we do every single year, which is really fun. I did 1 and 2 last 2 semesters, well, the semester of my junior year, I mean, which are really fun because you, as a student, are getting that experiential learning of writing out a short film, booking with actors out of New York, and scheduling props and locations, and working with all these different people to make a short film that'll go to festivals and different things like that, which is really cool, and take some pretty cool pictures with that camera, making some pretty awesome looking stuff. And it's great in that regard as well. Like some cameras might have, it's like a one person, point and shoot, click. That's fine. That is a multi-person operation. You got one person who's like panning or tilting it or moving the dolly it's on. You got one person who's pulling focus either from the camera or remotely if they want to do that. It's really a multi-person operation, and it's all about the teamwork that takes in many capacities, specifically on a film set, that really makes like that finished product you see in the theater really happen, which is really good to see from the backside.
Wow.
I always sit and watch all the credits at the end of a movie because I'm always amazed at how many, it's literally thousands of people, right, on the roll credits that have some type of a role in getting the film produced for screen. You were talking about camera work, obviously, and you're interested in that. You even taken that to new heights.
Yes.
Literally. With your
Pun intended.
Yes.
with your drone flying. Tell us
Yes.
about how you got involved in flying drones and what you do.
Sure. So I don't it's kind of a fun thing. I was thinking about this before coming in here today, and thinking like, when was the last time I really took it out there? Because oftentimes it's, if you have different weather conditions, like, I can't go out there, it's raining too much, or a lot of things like that. But I really enjoy going to new heights, as you said, flying my drone. I've done it for a lot of different things in the past, whether I worked on someone's music video one time. I flew like above a mountain. We like to look a little circle around the peak, which was really fun. I've done a lot of just kind of to get over different angles in trees and stuff, to get different angles of things like boats, or fun angles of sunsets and trains and things like that you can't get from the ground level, which are really awesome. And I like taking pictures up there. It takes a really nice camera on it. You can really zoom in. And this picture I'm thinking about right now is of a corn maze. I didn't go in the corn maze. I wasn't cheating, but I took a picture of it, and I'm like, oh wow, I can it's like you have the little menu maze at a restaurant. You're like, oh, let me go through this little maze. And it's just a lot of, as I said, to new heights, taking fun pictures and getting up there and taking some pretty unique angles that are always really cool to look at.
We're getting to the end of our time, but I have to tell this story, J-Dub. This was one of those things that it gave me goosebumps. But we were planning for our 50th, the radio station celebrated its 50th year last year. And one of the founders of the station was a guy named Dick Golgata. And this WNHU was founded by students. They built the first studio. And for the 50th, you made a wonderful video. And someone went up and interviewed Dick Golgata in, I believe it was Vermont or New Hampshire. And he described the process of, we have our broadcast tower is on the top of the student center, Bartels. And he described the process of watching the tower go up section by section. And as he was describing it on the video, it was Jason's drone shot going up the thing. I was like, whoa. Dude.
Yeah, that was a particularly fun project because of like the history you see it of, what came before, where are we now? And it was really fun. I really enjoy making like those like storytelling things. There's a lot of great stories that came from Dick Delgado that I didn't really think about, like to talk about like the record stores or different things talking about when like the transmitter died and they talked about like a little memo they got, internal station memo, where it's like the transmitter has finally succumbed, leaving no apparent reason, and just kind of and you kind of see like these people who the station's been going for over 50 years, these people who have long since graduated and gone off into their own lives in their own right, who still have like that. You see them, that was a person who worked on college radio. Like they have like that spirit to them. You see that still burning brightly in them after graduating the university.
Last question, speaking of graduating, what are your plans after graduation?
Wonderful question I've been asked countless times over the last 2 semesters. But I'm hoping to go out into something in the television kind of category. I've recently taken up a lot of fun ventures in freelance videography, going and covering events, different things like that. I kind of enjoy the challenge of taking my equipment and walking into a space and kind of figuring out how to best cover it, how to best tell the story that's there. So going into some of those things, you'll probably see the drone up in the air again, definitely. Definitely that's something I can bring to the table. So kind of just, I've got some ideas, let's see what's out there, offer my skills.
There's going to be a very fortunate employer to have Jason Kull.
Yeah, Jason, no matter what you choose to do, you got a bright future, and thanks for everything you've done for us here on Charger 360. You really make Bruce and I look good, and that's hard to do.
That is difficult, exactly. And let me just say, I love doing these student episodes because this is why we come to work every day.
Thank you.
So.
Yep. Jason Kull, our guest today here on Charger 360, our esteemed director, and after we're done with this, he's going to have to go back and do his real job for our next interviews that we're doing today. Jason, thanks for being here, buddy.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, excellent job on this side of the camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
The light.
A++.
Definitely.
Right? For the independent study, right?
Yeah, that's right. You did very well in class today.
Thank you. The independent study of life.
So it's just that easy to get on Charger 360. I don't know if it should be that easy, but it is that easy to get on Charger 360. Do what Jason did. Come up, talk to us, or email Bruce or I, Bruce Barber, so it's bbarber@newhaven.edu or jstewart@newhaven.edu. Let us know you'd be interested in being a guest on the show. For Jason, for Bruce, I'm J-Dub. Thanks for watching Charger 360, telling the stories of the University of New Haven. See you next time, everybody.